Hello, fellow humans. So, would you rather I start with the good news, the bad news? Well, we'll go with the obvious news, which is somewhere in between. We're someplace different. Wow, where are we? Well, the simple answer to that question is to look up. Here, I'll help. You see that big black thing both behind me and above us? That is my suspension rig. And why is that exciting? It's exciting because this means I can actually film some suspension clips for you guys to watch. And that's both the good news and the bad news, because the bad news is I spent all night trying to get this set up rather than filming the clip I wanted to film. I would have had something really cool to upload, but So here's the long version. I have been filming using the main computer in the living room. I have a laptop. But first, I realized my laptop has to be plugged in at all times because the battery's dead, and when I moved, I left the charger at the old house. So I stopped by the old house and picked up the charger. And then I got the charger over here, and I was like, oh, I can finally get this set up. So I plug in the laptop, and I plug this isn't like a separate camera, this is like a fancy webcam on a tripod. So I plug the webcam into the laptop, only realized that this laptop is from 2010 and doesn't even have a webcam, so it can't recognize a separate camera. There's no software on the laptop, so I couldn't just film, and then I would have just gone online to download something to film with, but lo and behold, the internet was down. So I spent half the night trying to figure out why the internet was down, and then when that finally came back up, I got all the recording stuff set up and finally got it to work. Well, I realized that the entire night has gone by and the birds are chirping outside. So unfortunately, the bad news is I don't have any cool new rope videos to share with you today, but it's still exciting because we are now in the rope room. There's even a little pile of rope behind me. And hopefully soon I can put this to use and show you some cool things. So aside from my long ramble about why this was much more difficult than it needed to be, there's a lot else going on in this room. It's kind of a mess right now because we're slowly turning this into like a 3-part room where the closet is where all my clothes are going. The rig takes up a good half of the room. Naturally, it's a giant metal frame. And then the other portion of the room that's left is where we're trying to get a nice setup for all our various crafts, whether it be my sewing, our leatherworking, or we even have this thing over here because we want to try brewing some of our own, either beer, mead, what have you. Matt made jerky for the first time using his little air filtery type thing, and there's a lot going on in this room. When I first kind of started moving in here, because Matt and I were dating last August, and he moved into here in September, and then by the time New Year's came around, I was already spending several days a week here, and where I was living, there wasn't anywhere for me to put a suspension frame, and so I just hadn't bought one yet, but I really wanted to be able to practice my rope more, and I am 100% going to pick suspension over floor ties any day, because floor ties just aren't that interesting for me as far as self ties go. And so I found a suspension frame I wanted that was extremely reasonably priced, and I was like, hey, the apartment has a spare room. Would it be weird if I bought a suspension rig and put it in there? And he was like, I don't care, I'm not using it. And then fast forward a few more months, and now I'm actually living here full time and bring all my other stuff in. And it's just, we never really finished setting up this room. It kind of just held the suspension rig for a while, and now we're finally getting around to organizing it. The way I moved in was actually kind of a funny story in and of itself, where it wasn't that Matt had asked me to move in or that I had chosen to move in. I just started spending so much time here because the only time we see each other is in the mornings, and if I were to sleep at my old place, I wouldn't wake up in enough time to really get over here and then spend any quality time together before I had to leave for work and Matt was going to bed, because I work second shift and he works third shift. So it was easier to just sleep here while he's at work, so that way when he gets home, I wake up and we get the whole morning together. And we were doing that so often that when we went away for Bound in Boston, he got an email from the landlord saying, hey, I noticed you getting into the same car with a person I've noticed being at your apartment a lot. It's fine if someone moves in with you, but you're going to have to put them on the lease if they're there that often. So pretty much the landlord made me move in, which is hilarious, and I still laugh about it. Anyway, that's a long story about how I'm kind of still getting my life together living here. But I do at least have a couple little things I can entertain you with to not make this just a 2-second, hey, I set up my camera in a different room video. I did bring my leather carving things over and found them. So I've got a few different things. One thing that I still haven't used that I really want to use is I got this rabbit pelt, and it's just like the softest thing ever. I know a lot of people are really opposed to fur. I'm not going to get into that. As far as rabbit fur goes, I think that's fine. I'm against exotic furs, but furs of things that we eat, I'm fine with. So I've got this nice rabbit pelt that I want to do something with. I've got some red suede that I still haven't used. And then I have a bunch of pieces of kind of just like practice veg tan leather to do carving things with, including a couple of the little projects from the kit that I just haven't gotten around to. I was saving this one for Matt to play with actually, but like there's thing to like make your own wallet. Pretty much I bought one of like the fancy expensive kits from Tandy's to just kind of get the tool. Actually, it's like a coaster, I guess. It's just kind of like a circle of leather, but it's just this kind of like floral looking design. I don't know if this is going to focus a little bit better. And yeah, no, I just kind of hand carved it into the leather using some tools, and then I dyed it red. So that was the first piece that I did. And I mean, hey, for the first time I ever did it, it came out pretty good, I think. And then the second one that I did, I went a little bit more freeform with, and that's this. I tried to do this like death's head moth kind of design. It came out okay. I don't love it. I wish that, the thing is, the leather I chose for this is very, very thin. I don't know how much you can see the difference here, but it's a lot thinner than the first one, so there just wasn't as much give to the leather to get a nice deep design, which was fine because I was just playing around trying to practice. And yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with these. They're just kind of like these cute little dyed leather pieces I have. And they're both red because red was the only dye I had at the time. Now I've got some black as well, but maybe I'll pick up some like cute lighter colors, because another side project I've been wanting to do for a long time is I would love to make my own line of BDSM inspired purses to sell. I have some cool ideas for like shibari inspired designs. I think it'd be super cool to make a handbag where the like a crossbody design and the shoulder strap actually detaches into a fully functioning whip, because that's clearly become one of my things, and I think that'd be such a cool, cute little design. And then there's like so many things you can do that are subtle but still like functional. For example, this was given to me by a friend. It's just this little like kind of like serpent's tongue sort of, and it's just kind of a keychain. But looking at it, it's just kind of like a thing of leather, but it's actually a very effective little plaything if you use it right. And I really like those sort of subtle functional things that would be super easy to turn into a detail on a handbag, and that you wouldn't know what it was if you didn't already have prior knowledge. Like if you weren't kinky, you wouldn't look at this and be like, oh, that's like an impact toy. So that's another thing that I've had in my head for a while that maybe once the craft room's fully set up, I can actually implement. I mean, I'm still pretty stoked that I even started this channel. I'd been wanting to start a YouTube channel for forever, so just even making videos is a step in the right direction. But that is my newest update. Welcome to my playroom, and I hope that I can make some cool use of it and come up with some cool content for you guys, and hopefully try to update you a little bit more often. I will see you next time. Bye!